Hi guys, Haunted the Truth here again with another podcast. Don't switch off, this is a really interesting one. It's going to be about what is a ghost really? What is people's perception of a ghost? Like, is it someone that's died? Is it some sort of mystical creature? Is it merely people's word for their imagination?
For me, it's the fact that I want to believe that there's something beyond this. I can't just accept the fact that it's over. Once you die, it's over. I can't accept that. Most of my loved ones have passed on. I like to believe I'm going to see them again one day. It gives me hope. It keeps me moving forward all the time, and I think that's why I kind of believe in the fact that my loved ones are around me all the time. Something interesting happened to me the other day. I was on my bus, and it was really odd. I smelt this unique smell, and I only associated with my dad. But my dad used to have what they call snuff. It's basically ground tobacco. It's not in the modern times. It's not something you can pick up now at your local corner shop like my dad used to. That made me feel at ease. It made me feel at peace in my heart. And I do believe there's spirits on there. I don't believe that's just it. It can't be just it. It doesn't make no sense to me.
I've heard of the people saying that they've had smells and stuff, and they've smelt like aftershaves and stuff that only relatives have had. The weird one for me, but I didn't really think anything of it, you reminded me of it, was when my past dog died. Went and put the dog down, and we come back home into the house, and the whole house smelled of wet dog. And I found that kind of peculiar. What's your thoughts on just the concept in general?
The whole concept of ghosts is interesting. I think everyone has their own take on it, which is good, because if we all thought the same, what a boring world to live in, right? But as for what ghosts are, it could take many forms. It could look like anything. Maybe it doesn't even have a form. Maybe it is just a solid energy. Maybe it is just a smell or something. But I know a lot of people are going to look at, well, you lot believe in this dimensional thing, and to be quite honest, we have to be open-minded for absolutely everything. And even your views are strong, and even though they're personal to you, that's still a personal faith, and we would never disrespect that. We would go along with whatever you feel it is, because you could be right, we could be wrong, or we could be right and you could be wrong. Anything is an option. It really is.
I honestly don't know what it is. Like, going from complete skeptic outright, I'm going to figure out all these supposed haunted locations and debunk a lot of them, to right, okay, that thing cannot go from there to there and happen for no reason, and then linking it to sounds, noises and things, and then I can understand why people believe that it's a ghost, or in ghost in the respect of it's somebody that's died and it's a lost soul. They're trapped within some purgatory state between here and elsewhere, depending on your belief system, of course. But I honestly, I can't say what I think it is. I just know that there is something.
Ghosts, for example, we call it ghost because that's the word people use, so I mean, it could have a different name from wherever it's from, whether it's the dead or not, or a dimensional thing. But you get a lot of people and they say, I saw a black figure, I saw a white figure, I saw a red figure, oh, it was green. You get lots of different shapes and forms. I mean, people seem to say, oh, it was in a white gown or a black gown, or it was wearing a hat, it had trousers, it had chains hanging from it. I mean, what you've got to look at is, if there is another world of the supernatural, is there shops? Is there shops? Is there other things? I mean, what clothes have like a soul now? Do clothes go with you when you die? I mean, it's very bizarre. It's an endless question. It really is. And even if you knew the answer, you'd want more questions to go along with that answer.
I want to jump in on that. There's a few problems that I can't seem to comprehend with it being, I continue on after death. One of them, I got some notes. One of them is, people say the consciousness is the soul, and that it continues on when you die. My question is, what happens if you've got multiple personality disorder? Which part of that conscious carries on?
But that's the thing, that the belief is that if you're suffering, say if you're blind or whatever, the belief is when you go to a better place,
But which one's truly you?
or that's eradicated.
Which one's you then?
But that's what I mean.
Out of all the personalities.
Say if you've got 10 different personalities,
Which one does it choose?
when you go on to
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I know what you're saying, but when you go on to the next life, all the false ones are eradicated. You come to your true essence.
So you could be Jonathan with James, Maggie, and
Yeah.
Simon,
Yeah.
but then
Jack Sparrow,
everybody's calling you Jonathan, but actually you're really
Yeah.
Maggie.
Yeah.
And then when you die, you become Maggie. Is that what you're
That's it.
suggesting?
Yeah. Basically, your true essence is come to light, and it's like I say. I think the only things that stay here are troubled souls, ones that aren't at peace.
So someone that's died
Yeah.
and they've had a horrific death.
Like they say, unfinished business kind of thing. And like with people like who've had a have had a good life, they move on to wherever this place is, the happy place, as they want to call it, but they can visit in and out
So that's
when they want to.
That's a bit of an interesting contrast to some religions there, because the Christian belief, the Jewish belief, and I believe the Muslim belief, which are all very similar because around the same period of time, they all suggest that when you die, you know, if you're good, blah blah blah, you go to heaven, and once that you are in heaven, there is no way of coming back to this plane to communicate. They suggest that the things that, and this is no offense to mediums or anything like that, this is all just stuff that I've researched, they suggest that the people that mediums, Ouija boards, spirit boxes, etc., the ways in which you're communicating with the whatever that is you're communicating with, they say that that is demons masquerading as your loved ones. They're pretending. They can be nice to try and get to you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, that's a very, very interesting justification for it. They say that, demon is a liar. The demon is a liar, right? That's what they say, and it's very good. And its intention is to get back into this world in some way, shape, or form. And the problem you've got there is this is hyped massively through movies, articles, online now. It's overhyped massively. You don't see it as big as it is on TV.
Yeah.
And even if it is, you don't hear of it because it's massively frowned upon. And if someone does have a story of possession or anything like that, you never hear of it. People don't want to talk about it. Even people that have had a supernatural experience and they say they've seen a ghost, they don't want to talk about it. They just don't. The only way they feel happy to talk about these things is when they're confronted to a situation where other people have had similar experiences.
Yeah.
Which is what we do here. We open up the gateway for people to have conversations with us and comment left, right, and centre about their paranormal going on.
But they don't.
Right? But they don't. Right? They still need extra proof to see that we're not bullshitting in any way, shape, or form. But are we really facing the afterlife? People that have passed on? We don't know this. We don't know. And if they can come back to this plane and visit us, then I'm telling you now, 100%, I know for a damn fact my brother would definitely come back to see me. And even though he's passed on, I gotta be honest, I've never had anything. I've never felt anything. I've never sensed anything. I've never smelt anything. So it's very hard for me to digest that as a possibility. But I'm not saying it's not a possibility.
You've got people in your family, your mum, for example. She's mentioned that she sensed stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, everyone has their own different belief. I'm not saying they're wrong. I would never say that at all. But everyone's entitled to have their own little view on it. And my old dear, bless her, she believes she's had her 5 minutes of interaction, but she believes that it can only happen once. And her visit was very, very hard to understand.
Yeah.
It was to a point where it was a natural thing to happen, but it was in the way it happened.
Yeah.
So she felt the communication through an animal, not through any smell or form of any way. It was through a robin. It flew to my brother's wheelchair, and it pitched on his wheelchair, and it stayed there for about a good 10 minutes. But when people, I think, go looking for it, I think that's when they miss it. They got to let it happen naturally. I think it has to happen naturally, and you have to pick on it in a way where it's personal to you as well.
Yeah.
We're at Snuff Mills at the moment doing this podcast. What on earth are we messing with? Is it June and Royston, or is it something nasty? Is it something that's in another plane, something that's Stranger Things-esque?
Every time we do these episodes and podcasts and whatever, it ponders more questions for me, but in a good way. Now, you look at it like we've discussed about loved ones and stuff, and moving on and things like that. But let me ask this: so what you're saying is that what you could say, what some people would say, is that all our loved ones are gone, but this planet is filled with nothing but evil. How is that a possibility? Because the Earth, if you look at Chinese philosophy, is yin and yang, good and bad. You have to have a balance.
It's. I don't know if they suggest that it's the Earth that's full of evil. They say that if you start looking into it deep, there's key points that match other key points from around the world. So the Chinese believe in am I right in saying like a sort of a dimension type thing where there's demons?
Yeah, they believe that the demon prey on newborn children, don't they?
Yeah, they think the demons, well, not all of them, but there is a certain sector in China with the monks that believe that the demons prey on newborn children. They have something over there called the bakwa, and it's a mirror.
Yeah,
I've got one. I can put a little bing right there.
It's scattered around.
Yeah.
Right,
on the house.
they put that around the house because they believe it removes negativity. And I've been told this directly from someone who's Chinese. So that long story short, they do believe that there's something bad. It's not necessarily here. It's more the space within spaces.
Yeah. A space where we can't go or experience, but they can get out of their environment.
The upside down in Stranger Things is, I don't think that is a concept that they've just made up. That's something from lore that they've looked into.
Yeah.
It comes from Dungeons and Dragons, and that would have come from lore in some respect, in some way.
You've got to look at that. It's not just fantasy, but an option amongst a possibility of what a paranormal experience could well be.
But the demon, everybody hears demon, they think the devil, they think Lucifer, they think all these trolls and stuff. It's just the word that people are using. People use different words around the world. Tens of thousands of years ago, they would have called them goblins, trolls. It's the same thing, just a different word.
Yeah, and we don't know if all the bad people and the bad energies on this planet in our time go there. We just don't know. We have no idea.
You could look at it like that. I mean, going back to what Mark said about what do you think's down here, I think, if I'm honest, this is my own personal view, that the world is in such a difficult way at the moment. There's so much negativity, not just in individual lives worldwide, and it could be building the energy for more negativity. Everything we touch, we look at, we feel, everything is energy. and we're just drawn to energy. This is what we do.
This here is
Energy.
an EMF. It's picking up some degree of an electromagnetic field in an area where it shouldn't. So clearly, the evidence is there to suggest that there's an energy happening somehow.
Some sort of
It just is.
breakthrough
And anyone who
some sort of
says
field.
otherwise, it's right there.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot
Absolutely.
deny what's in front of your face and what's caught on camera.
But I also believe that, and this is, like I said, a personal thing again, but I also believe you can't fear it. You cannot fear it. It's like when, like you say you're scared of dogs, right? I'm not saying go up and pet a dog because it might be vicious. I'm just saying don't show fear to it. Ignore it. Walk on. Walk past it, and it'll leave you alone. It's the same with sharks. They say they'll attack you. They won't just attack you.
Well, this is interesting because from the source that we've spoken to, we've been told now that if something's coming at us and we start feeling fear, what we need to actually do is stay calm, close our eyes and relax.
Just let it go.
Yeah, you need to set yourself into a state of meditation. There's breathing techniques you can do for that, and there's it's actually been proven that you can slow your heart rate down with practice. It can happen.
Let's say it isn't the dead, for example, the things that we're going to go and see. There's clearly something going on, but why, if it's a dimensional, I don't know how it, apparently that shouldn't work anyway, but let's, go along with me for now. Hypothetically, if it's dimensional, why only grotty places? Why only places where there's been acts of suffering? Why not, your local park? Why is it like bad places?
This is a question for everyone, mate, not just us. Everyone might have a different opinion on it. If you look at the evidence, it does show that older places, people that have experienced bad stuff in their life, event-wise, people have been killed or hung or shot. People that have killed themselves, people that have been killed. You're looking at those locations being written as haunted simply based on the history.
Yeah.
And you go there and you may not have anything happen there. And that is the case for me in some situations. We pay a lot of money to go on live events with other groups to grotty places with bad history. And do you know what they get? No.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely no. But we've been going to places that are not known and don't have a reputation and done our own thing and prove that there are things going on.
Yeah.
And the most haunted places we've been to are genuinely just people's houses.
Yeah.
I remember watching this really cheesy 80s film. It was called, I think it was called Terror Bridge or something like that. It had David Hasselhoff in it. And basically what had happened is that they took London Bridge, where it was Jack the Ripper had, I suppose, fallen off or whatever, and they moved it to America. And apparently when his body fell into the water, his spirit came out and went into this particular brick, and to find, they actually pieced it all together. They actually found this brick and they put all the bridge together, and so say his spirit came out and started killing people again. Obviously that's far-fetched.
Very interesting point.
But
Very interesting.
do you think
point.
that the actual trauma of whatever happened,
Transfers.
that energy, what I was saying about before, went into the object, the inanimate object or whatever it is?
Do this. He loves it.
That's a very, very good point, and I mean, we've got a hell of a lot of proof to help suggest this is a real thing on our channel. People just got to watch the episodes. Literally, we've gone to locations and we thought to ourselves, there's a lot of old things here. Old things. Most people like going to car boots, buying things off of people, and you just have no idea really what you're buying or what the history is connected to these items. You bring them home and then you end up having a haunting, and you have no idea why.
No.
And this has been the case for a lot of places we have gone to. Even just speculating the idea fascinates me. It really does.
It's linked to this whole stone tape type thing, and I recently spoke to two physicists that are in university, And I said to them, is it possible for, that concept to be a thing? And they said, that what's interesting is, it was something like this, that when someone was producing a vinyl and they were putting the music into the vinyl, people were talking around going, oh, make sure you blah 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 blah, and the things that they were saying were also recorded onto it. So I said, so it's possible for objects to actually retain information? And he said, theoretically, yes. And I said, well, is it possible for that information to be played out again? And he said, theoretically, yes. Other physicists might be watching this and go, that's a load of blah 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 blah. I'm happy to listen and hear what you have to say.
Well, they said that the same materials that they used in VHS tapes were also used in certain stone rocks. So, I mean, if these materials were capable of recording audio, let alone the visual side of things, why can't this happen in other objects that are using the same material?
What I struggle to understand is, like if I shout at that tree, I'm not going to, straight away that tree bounces my voice back at me. That happens instantaneously. What I struggle to understand is, if I shout at that tree, people suggest that my voice may come back from that tree a week later. That's a bit confusing for me.
If it does, then we're not here to experience that. It's a very, very profound thing, and that you have to understand it to know it, and we don't understand it.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Maybe somebody here that's watching might know more about that particular subject. Some people suggest that their pets go into the spirit world. If animals can continue onto the spirit world and they come and they show themselves to you, why is my room not filled with thousands of ghost spiders that I've murdered over the years?
Because that's murder. And if you had a cat or a dog, you'd probably love that, and you're fearful of spiders.
But it's a horrific death.
Yeah, but
to the spider.
dude, come on, let's look at this from a normal perspective, right? A spider. Do you know how small some of them are? I mean, come on, you may be asleep and you may feel it crawling over you, right?
Yeah.
And then you go, oh,
Well, I should
it.
get up and just see, like, the whole room should be filled with them. And the other thing is,
but dude, it's a mocking question, because then we could also say, why aren't we seeing giant dinosaur
exactly.
ghosts?
It's not a mocking question, it's a sensible question. Why are we not seeing dinosaurs? Why are we not seeing cavemen? There's never been a report of, the caveman.
Because they can communicate, right?
It seems to be after like a certain...
What I mean by mocking is, like, is we don't want to take the piss out of the people that do believe that they are seeing their animals, because they may well possibly can.
Well, they might suggest, right? Because a dog has a soul and a spider doesn't.
Yeah. But what we're trying to say is, it don't make sense due to the fact that we don't see other things, do we? We don't see dinosaurs. There's nothing of that. And like you say, spiders, but that is so minimal. A spider, man, like, if you're telling me that there's a place for spiders to go, I don't want to go to that place.
I'm going to touch on that. Why don't we see? Because more people probably died than they have lived. So why is... And there's probably been a lot of horrific deaths as well. But every single place you go to on the planet should technically be haunted, because of the amount of people that have lived and died.
As human beings, we're very closed off to everything.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to sound like I'm going to digress again, but everything on this planet is energy. It's living, breathing organisms, from us to the tiniest little bacteria. Right now, I've always said, and this sounds like I'm going to go off topic a bit, but I've always said, right, you've got humans create nuclear weapons and stuff like that. Once this planet has had enough of our nonsense, it's going to do tsunamis. It's going to do freezing temperatures. It's going to do excessive heat.
So you don't necessarily believe, because some people would suggest that's God, but you're kind of in the mindset of like Jim Carrey, who thinks it's a universal thing. It's like it's everything is alive.
It's
everything is one thing. You and me are one of the same.
It's like going back to the spiders. It's all energy. Everything's energy. You look at the Buddhists; they respect everything, every single thing on this planet, because it's all this thing we live on is a living, breathing organism.
Yeah, but Dan, there's loads of other options out there for this energy to coexist in many forms. So not just ghosts, but reincarnation.
Yeah, well, it's
We
endless.
we don't know. I mean, there's loads of options.
Yeah.
I mean, all those options could exist. They could exist.
Yeah, we just don't know.
We just don't know.
I think on that note of us not knowing, I think that's the most honest we can be. We don't actually know.
Perhaps you can tell us.
Yeah. Comment. Let us know if you liked it, if you hate it. Subscribe. It's free. And it doesn't cost anything to you whatsoever. It's just a click. That's it. Thank you so much. We've been Haunted the Truth.